Good evening, Birds fans, and welcome to the show. The Birds wrapped up the 2025 campaign and playoffs with a one and done. There's so much to get to, I'm not sure if we got enough time for me to touch on it all, but it's time for my breakdown. I think we were all more hopeful than confident that this Bird teams could find a way to get it done going into the playoffs, but most likely improbable that that would happen. The same issues that plagued them during the 11-6 regular season was their demise on Sunday afternoon. An offense that looked out of sync, confused, and inept all year long brought the same energy to the postseason party, with Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo once again having no answer to counter the 49ers D. The first quarter looked as though the Birds had found their remedy, but as usual, the last first half possession through the rest of the game, they looked lost as Robert Saleh, 49ers defensive coordinator, and his patchwork defense forced 4 punts, 2 field goals, and a turnover on downs to end the Birds season. The inability of OC Kevin Patullo to put together anything that resembles an effective offense left us all in disbelief in the most important game of the year. All season long, this offense has lacked creativity, consistency, or complexity. And defenses all year have feasted on that predictability and lack of coordination. They came out in the first half with some new wrinkles that worked and forced the 49ers to make some adjustments. But once they adjusted and corralled that run game and started to pressure Jalen Hurts on second and third down and long situations, it was just a matter of time before our defense wore down and began to yield some 49ers successes. The Birds' offense's inability to sustain drives once again was a contributing factor, going 2 of 10 on third down conversions in the second half alone and managing a paltry 119 total yards in the second half. I'm not going to put all the onus on the coaches. The players played their role in this defeat as well, dropping passes, missing blocks, and untimely penalties at critical moments in the game. It was a combined lackluster effort on the part of all parties. The O-line showed glimpses of improvement, then faded. And with drops by Devontae and Saquon at critical points in the game, it was one self-destructive misstep after another. And the cherry on top was A.J. Brown's 2 drops and lack of overall effort on 2 other balls that sunk any potential that this team had for a win. I cannot and will not omit criticism for Jalen Hurts in this situation. He missed opportunities when receivers weren't dropping passes. He lacked the desire to take off and run when he had the chance and possessed a protective mindset passing the ball down the field. To be honest, the play concepts and scheme was so elementary that it looked as though the defense knew what the offense was running before the ball was even snapped. On the defensive side of the ball, all eyes would be on Vic Fangio and Kyle Shanahan and their matchup. And with some early miscues by Quinyon Mitchell and the interior of the Eagles' pass defense, the 49ers hung on until they could break things wide open. For the most part, I thought that they held Christian McCaffrey in check, and he was the key, especially in the run game. But the passing game, especially with George Kittle's going down with an Achilles rupture, undid our defense. A 29-yard reverse wide receiver pass to Christian McCaffrey for a touchdown, and a schemed-up one-on-one McCaffrey versus Nakobe Dean in the red zone were the key matchups that Shanahan outwitted Fangio on. Reed Blankenship fell asleep on the reverse pass, and Dean had no shot whatsoever of covering McCaffrey out of the backfield. The bright spot was that the Birds' D did contain the run game. And Quinyon Mitchell's 2 interceptions that netted the Birds' offense the football in positive territory and only yielded 1 Jake Elliott field goal for 3 points. Purdy and Shanahan kept Fangio's units on its heels all game, scheming favorable matchup, trick plays, and hitting on explosive plays, something that the Eagles' defense rarely fell prey to for the majority of the year. The special teams played a fairly decent game in coverage and returns. The exception, Jake Elliott's missed extra point, which played a major role in the final outcome. Had he made that extra point, the Eagles' offense would have tied the game at the end with a chance to win in overtime, but wound up losing the game by 4 points, ending their playoff hopes. As I stated, this was a total team collapse versus a beat-up 49ers team that fielded backups on both offense and defense, adding injury to insult. Some serious soul-searching will happen this offseason with massive questions about coaching changes, salary caps, and extension issues, and most important, how different this roster will look going into the 2026 campaign. That's my breakdown. Up next, former Raiders GM Mike Mayock joins me to further break down this depressing Eagles loss and dive deeper into what went so wrong for this Eagles team this year.
Okay, Richardson, give me the tree. The holidays are done.
No way they're done.
They are.
We thought so too, Gary. But then Verizon just gave us their best deal.
4 new iPhone 17s, all on them.
Yep, and 4 lines, all for just $25.
You got anything under there for me?
It's a holiday miracle.
Our best deals are still here. Come into Verizon and get 4 iPhone 17s on us. No trade-in needed. And 4 lines for just $25 a line.
Love that spirit, folks.
Picture this. You play big-time college football, you get some NIL money. You get drafted in the NFL, and you start making real big money. However, you're 23 years old and you don't have any credit. Here at Mid-Penn Bank, we're helping these athletes establish credit through secured credit cards and other strategies that can help develop their credit now, so as they continue to make money, they can have long-term success financially.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional-grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
He dived.
No matter how you play, there's always another way to win on the BetParx app.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's do that again.
No matter how you play.
I just pushed with my tush. With my tush.
There's always another way to win on the BetParx app.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging, our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team. This segment is brought to you by Verizon Communications. Welcome back. Mike Mayock, former NFL player, broadcaster/analyst, and GM of the former Oakland Raiders, is here to dive into this Eagles loss. Mike, as someone from Philly, you probably can imagine the angst surrounding this team after Sunday's exit.
Seth, I grew up in West Philadelphia. My dad was a coach at University of Penn, and I used to go with him when I was really young and watch the Eagles play at Franklin Field out of his office. So I go back to age 7, 8, 9, 10 as an Eagle fan, and I think I have a pretty good appreciation for the vibe in the city right now, and it's not very positive.
Yeah. Well, listen, the kitchen's hot right now for Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo. I guess the question is, their inability to right the ship all season long left us all scratching our head, especially with the level of talent on this roster. How did they get it right, man?
Ultimately, the head coach has responsibility for getting it right. So it falls to Sirianni. I kind of felt like it was the most frustrating offense that has a lot of talent that I've ever seen in my life. And Nick's got to make that decision. That's decision number 1, is whether or not Patullo comes back. And my guess is he won't.
Let's say that Jeffrey and Howie says to Nick, hey, listen, Nick, you got to make a change. That change has to come from outside the building. That happened with Doug Peterson 2 years after he won the Super Bowl. Are we seeing this thing kind of play itself out again, and what that dynamic looks like as far as Nick Sirianni and Howie Roseman's relationship?
I don't care if it comes inside the building or outside the building. but there's got to be a guy that's going to hold Jalen accountable, that's going to demand respect and get it, and both of them will work together to take this offense to a completely different level. That's how it has to work.
Fan base is kind of picking sides here. Is it the players or is it the coaches at the moment? But as simplistic and as basic as the play calling has been, at least 50% of the blame has to go on the players for a lack of execution all season long, Mike.
The one thing I've learned over the years is that players make plays, right? It's not the play call as much as, or the scheme. Players make plays. So on the biggest play of the season, why are your two best receivers not even involved in the play? I didn't understand that. So it's kind of an example of what you're talking about as far as 50-50. When the players get an opportunity, they have to execute. But the offensive coordinator has got to put them in a position to make plays.
Okay, so fill us in on what you see with Jalen Hurts. Where there's smoke, there's fire. It's been stated that there are certain things he won't run, that he chose this year, that he didn't want to run the football, and he doesn't like to pass over the middle. But, Mike, we've seen him succeed doing all of these things in the past. What's your viewpoint on these speculations?
Where I am on Jalen is that he's not Matthew Stafford. Okay, if you're looking for a pocket quarterback that's going to go through progressions with pinpoint accuracy, that's not Jalen. But that's okay. You've been to 2 Super Bowls with Jalen Hurts in the last 4 years. It's okay because what he brings to the table is sustainable and you can win Super Bowls with. So the job of the coordinator is what I just talked about a minute ago, which is getting on the same page, giving him a playbook that takes advantage of the things he does best, which includes using his legs in a very accountable and intelligent manner, okay? But you got to take advantage of what he does best, and he's got to be held accountable to a certain level also.
The matchup, the chess matchup, I should say, between Kyle Shanahan and Vic Fangio was billed as must-see. And I thought that at times Vic had some success, but in the end, Kyle kind of got the best of him a little bit with the trick play, and then scheming the one-on-one matchup with McCaffrey and Dean for the final touchdown, like Dean had no shot whatsoever. What do great coaches do in my head? I'm the son of a coach. Great coaches find ways to win, creative ways to win with their game day roster. So Kyle's game day roster was depleted. So what did he do? Players make plays. He found ways to get the ball in the hands of his players. He got creative. I take my hat off to the Shanahan offensive game plan. Hey, Mike, hold on 1 second. Stay with us. When I return from break, I want to get your take on what the offseason could look like for this staff and roster.
There's a number on the screen.
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 There is a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
Pride, passion, and persistence. These are the values that drive us all at Ron Jaworski Golf. We strive to deliver outstanding conditions as well as playability for golfers of all ages and abilities. Our championship golf courses offer a variety of challenges from a link-style walk along the river to an escape into the pines and everything in between. My team at Ron Jaworski Golf is committed to delivering memorable experiences every single day. See all we do at ronjaworskigolf.com.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team.
This is Parks.
Parks, Pennsylvania's #1 casino experience. This is how you win.
At Mid-Penn Bank, we believe in the power of community. We're not just another bank, we're your bank. We're also your neighbor. For over 150 years, we've been helping dreams come true, financing projects that make a difference locally. From small businesses to community centers, we're here to support what matters most to you, donating time and resources to strengthen the Philadelphia region. And when Philly's favorite superstars need a bank they can trust, they turn to Mid-Penn Bank just like you can. Mid-Penn Bank, stronger communities, stronger futures. Let's build something great together.
This segment is brought to you by Recovery Unplugged. Welcome back. Mike Mayock is still with me as we shift our focus to the certain changes on this football team that this organization will undergo. Mike, many are calling for Kevin Patullo's job. Can Nick Sirianni realistically bring him back as the OC next year?
I think if you look at the offensive performance this year, there has to be accountability, and it probably has to start with the coordinator. I don't know what happens after that, but I do believe they're going to make that decision.
Mike, if I had to pick one position that underperformed entirely this year, it's the O-line. I get it. They had injuries. They missed Lane for a huge part of the season. But the digression on the offensive line was just, unprecedented. Do they need to go offensive line with their first 2 picks? So they got first two picks in the first round and a second round pick.
Really, we're not going to be able to talk too much about what they should do in the draft till we figure out what they do or don't do in free agency. If Lane doesn't come back and there's no activity in free agency, yeah, I think O-line's going to be a big heavy look for the Eagles this year.
All right, beyond the O-line depth and replenishment, defensively, what are your most important areas of need as far as this team is concerned?
Well, I think the good news is they've drafted so efficiently on defense. I just want to wait and see how they do in free agency before you sit there and thump the desk for any kind of draft picks.
Mike, beyond Kevin Patullo right now, the biggest lightning rod is the question of, do the Eagles trade A.J. Brown or do they bring him back? Like, we've all been front row and center to see, the contentious year that it has been for that player in this organization. What's the prudent thing? I'm not, I don't sit on either side of it. In private, I've got some ideas about what they should do, but it seems to me that the majority of the people feel like that the Eagles need to move on from A.J. Brown.
Here's a supremely talented guy, and the more talent you have and the more productivity you have, the longer your leash. So the thing that I didn't like this year, 2 things really. One was the kind of passive-aggressive social media stuff. Mm-hmm. What bothered me was on top of all that passive-aggressive stuff, he made a bunch of drops this year in key situations. The Chargers game was bad. Last week was bad. If you're paying a guy $32 million a year guaranteed at wideout, you better make those catches. That's right. Part of your obligation back to the team. So I didn't feel like he met his obligation to the team this year.
All righty. Mike, listen, man, it's been so awesome having you on board today. I appreciate your input, your perspective, and more importantly, I appreciate your time, my friend.
I really appreciate it, man. I wish you the best. Thanks for having me on, Seth.
You got it. All righty. After this break, my final thoughts on the 2025 season and what I believe the Birds need to get done coaching and personnel-wise to retool for the upcoming 2026 season. Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family-owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
Mistletoe in January? Why can't your parents just move on? The holidays are over.
If Verizon's keeping the holiday spirit, Nick, so are we. We just got a great deal.
Super fast, reliable home internet for just $35 a month.
With no surprise price hikes guaranteed. You'll understand when you're older.
Guarantee this is gross.
Great deals are still here. Switch to Fios Home Internet starting at $35 a month and get a Samsung TV on us with our premium plans.
There's a number on the screen.
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 There is a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen.
There's a number on the screen. There's a number on the screen.
At Revolution X, we know that fortunes are made in times of uncertainty. Are you selling your investment real estate? Are you interested in deferring your tax with a 1031 exchange? At RevX, we're experts in 1031 exchange planning and the use of passive real estate options using DSTs. Not in the midst of an exchange and want to invest in real estate but don't know where to start? Revolution X has institutional-grade real estate options for any size investor right now. Set up a consultation at RevXWealth.com. RevX, defer the tax, maximize the gain.
This segment is brought to you by Weber Display and Packaging. Welcome back. Well, the chase for a repeat proved too much for this staff and team. So now it's time to reboot and look ahead to the upcoming offseason and 2026 campaign. I'm of the opinion that massive changes are on the horizon for this team from a coaching perspective as well as personnel. They will look markedly different than what we're used to. The first order of business is for Sirianni to find a much more competent offensive coordinator. In 2023, we tried to elevate Brian Johnson and collapsed after a 10-1 start. We brought in another outside play caller in Kellen Moore and won it all. This year, we went back to the till and promoted Kevin Patullo from within, and things never ever seemed right. We're now likely in the market for another OC. Jalen Hurts is fifth in 6 seasons. Sirianni struggled in his rookie season as a play caller, and midway through, he had to turn the reins over to Shane Steichen. The problem is, if Nick hires someone from his current staff, the offense is sure to look much like it has during his tenure here, because his hands will be all over the till, and after Johnson and Patullo, we all know what that looks like. The problem is, if Jeffrey and Howie forces Nick's hand to go outside, what dynamic does that create with their Super Bowl winning coach of a year ago? Also, whatever new OC they bring in, after watching this talented unit struggle, he's going to want to call his own shots, and rightfully so. The question once again surfaces, what does Nick Sirianni, the CEO head coach, what does he actually do? I'm of the opinion that a more authoritative figure is needed, one who demands respect, who will ask Jalen what he likes each week, but also demand that he not only run his scheme, but elevates his skill set to run the entire playbook. This new OC needs to bring innovation, creation, and an ability to make in-game adjustments to the table. On the roster side, will Lane Johnson be back or retire? Does Howie Roseman commit top draft capital to the O-line first, i.e., first round, second round draft picks? The biggest question is, do they bring A.J. Brown back? After such a contentious year, that question has to be asked. And if not, what are the salary cap ramifications? Also, who would be his replacement, a free agent or a draft pick? O-line wise, Howie picked Drew Kendall in the 5th round last year, and in his Week 18 start, he looked pretty good versus the Commanders starters. They also took Miles Hinton and Cameron Williams as offensive tackles in the 6th round, both in the 6th round last year. The question is, how far along are these players to becoming contributors, depth players, or potential starters? they need picks that are ready now. The Birds also have 18 free agents this year, of which 7 are starters or significant contributors. Who stays and who goes? Howie has 10 picks in the upcoming draft. The 21st and 24th in the first round, a second round, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and a sixth. It'll be interesting to see how Howie wheels and deals and who he targets. On defense, Blankenship, Phillips, and Dean are free agents, and they have a massive need for a third cornerback opposite All-Pros Mitchell and DeJean. The defense may undergo some changes as well, with Dean up and Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, who had a breakout year eligible for extensions. I don't envy Howie. He has some tough decisions to make, but he's been great at making moves in the draft, the free agent market, as well as the trade front. This defensive unit is relatively young, and I like to see Phillips and Dean back. But with the 2 big fellas up as a priority and the potential for added depth at the defensive tackle position, it's safe to say that he will allow Blankenship and Dean to probably test the market. As strange as that sounds, especially Dean. The second-round pick, Drew Makuba, should look to expand on his experience over the first few starts of his rookie season. And as much as I like Reed Blankenship, an upgrade with more speed on the back end may be necessary. Marcus Epps flashed as a starter. Does Vic have confidence in him moving forward to be the full-time starter? There's enough youth and talent on this roster to get back into Super Bowl contention. But the rest of the NFC is on the rise. If the Cowboys can find a DC to bring out the best of their talent, they'll be challenging for the division next year. The Giants are ascending as well, once healthy and with picks to upgrade in the draft. In the conference, the Bears will only continue to get better. Out west, the Seahawks, 49ers, and Rams will remain competitive. In the north, you have the Packers, who are waiting for Parsons' return, and the Bucs and the Panthers in the south will be a year better. And so the Eagles need to upgrade and try to reassert themselves to remain relevant. The whole of Eagles Nation will be locked in and excited to see the next new version of the Philadelphia Eagles and what it will look like. That's the show for tonight. Thank you for tuning in all season long to the Seth Joyner TV show. And God willing, I'll see you right back here next year as we prepare, hopefully, for another Super Bowl run. Have a good night and an awesome offseason. Go Birds.